Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink with another ice cream themed card. I did one not too long ago, and for today's card I was honestly just sort of playing around. I got this Dimensional Cubes stencil from Simon's Dream Big release, and yeah, I was thinking like Neapolitan ice cream. I literally just kind of sat down, pulled out some cardstock and some inks. So I have white cardstock, and I'm using the first layer of this stencil with Simon's Cappuccino Positively Saturated ink and a blending brush. And I just blend that on there. I'm also using, Simon released this very, very low tack tape with this release. And I opened up the package and thought, you know what, I'll try this out too. So far, so good. I like it. It's, yeah, they've done a video on their own, like YouTube channel. It's also, I think, with the listing of the product, explaining, the uses and all that kind of stuff. I like it. It's great for holding stencils. I used it to hold my dies in place. So far, so good. So I was using it to hold the stencil. So I did that first piece, and then this second stencil, it looks really weird, but basically you just keep rotating it. And like I said, I was just sitting down playing. I wasn't even really thinking. I was like, it's a good thing I did the little squares first, because then this piece, or this stencil, you just kind of rotate around it. So you can have a lot of fun with this stencil and create some kind of trippy 3D sort of looks, depending on like the colors you use and just the way you want to add the colors. But I kept it pretty simple, and I just used LATTE, which is just a very light brown ink, and guava, and then melon. And then I decided, I was going to leave the final like piece white, and then I was like, no, I'm just going to add more LATTE ink, because why not? So rotated the stencil for the last time. I was just wiping it off with a microfiber cloth in between the colors. And then I blended on this LATTE ink again. And then, of course, I'm going to splatter, because in my last video, I did, shockingly, clean and simple with no splatter and no bling. And like I always say, when I go a little simpler, it's like I have to make up for it the next time. So I did splatter. So I started with just smushing. It was cappuccino, and then I pulled out mocha ink, which is the darkest brown of the positively saturated inks. And I smushed them onto my palette, splattered them. But because of this type of ink, they kind of dry back a bit. And I wanted the splatter to be a little more obvious. So I pulled out some ground espresso distress paint, and that gave me the like real splatter effect. But I liked how the splattered inks, they just create some fun texture in that. I should have done all of this in my splat box. I have splatter everywhere. It gets everywhere, no matter how much you try to contain it. That's why I do the splat box and my flour sack cloth and all the things I tell you guys to do that sometimes I just don't. And then I'm wiping splatter off of everything. Anyway, I had set that background aside so that the paint could dry. And then for my main little image, I'm using this soft serve cone wafer die set. It's so cute. So this I die cut from white cardstock as well. And then just blending those exact same inks onto these pieces. So this was so quick and easy. I die cut everything twice so I could have two little ice cream cones. And for the cone itself, I used that LATTE ink. For the crisscross, of the waffle type cone. To me, it's a waffle cone. It's always, if there is an option for a waffle cone, it's got to be a waffle cone. Way better than regular cones. But anyway, I used LATTE and cappuccino inks for that. And then for the ice cream swirl, you've got your base, and then there's two like swirl pieces. And for those, I used the guava, the melon, and then I used cappuccino ink and then mocha ink. Again, I was having fun with it, and it made me want ice cream so much. Love it. I love ice cream. So making ice cream themed cards, especially this time of year, is just too much fun. So simple blending. I was just working on scrap paper with these pieces. Quick and easy. you know. You could also die cut these from color cardstock. The previous card I did with ice cream theme, I used the other ice cream wafer die, and I did them like a big slimline card and did them all in rainbow colors, you know, and stacked it all up. Like, again, the sky's the limit. It's just fun. So once everything was blended, I adhered all the pieces together just using my craft tacky glue, the bottle with the really fine tip nozzle on it. I've mentioned this in many videos. I'll have a link to the nozzle. I literally just opened the bottle of glue and screwed the fine tip nozzle onto it. No fancy surgery or anything needed. And then I just keep a pin in mine. It's just a little stainless steel sewing pin. And so far, this thing has not clogged. It works great. So I use this for like detail adhering. And then I've got my regular glue bottle that I use for all my regular adhering. So these came together super, super easy. It's kind of obvious. Like when you're putting it together, it all just makes sense. So adhered all the pieces for the cone, adhered the ice cream, adhered the two little detail pieces. So it's all like swirled. And then once those were adhered, I had the background had dried. I die cut it with one of Simon's basic rectangle wafer dies. And then I pulled out my card base, which is smooth white cardstock that is going to be a top folding A2 size card. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I have the inside of the card here, and I've masked off where the score line is, which is some Post-it tape. And then I'm taping the full pattern of the stencil, because you've got the two that I used for what will be the card front, and then there's this one that can be used like with those or on its own. So I've got this taped in place for the inside of the card, and then I'm just blending that guava ink very lightly, like barely pressing my brush into the ink pad, wiping off the first little bit on the scrap paper, and then just lightly blending it so it kind of fades out to white along the edges. So it just brings in that pattern, a bit of that pink color. This guava color is gorgeous. I love it. So did all of that. And then all my sentiments are just from one of these birthday sentiment strip packs from Simon. So I trimmed those down off camera, the ones I wanted to use on the outside and the inside of the card. So I adhered the ones to the inside of the card with craft tacky glue, and then fold my card closed, reinforce fold with my Teflon bone folder, and then my stenciled and splattered background, I'm coating the back of that with some foam tape, and then I'm going to pop that onto the card front. And then the ice cream cones, I'm also going to pop up with some foam tape for a little bit of dimension. And same with the sentiment strip, which was like one line, but I cut it into 2 separate words. And then I took my Memento tuxedo black marker and just ran that along the edge of these pieces so that it covers that white cardstock. It just gives it that little extra finishing touch. So coated it with that. And then I adhered these into place with the foam tape as well. So again, a little bit of dimension, all that fun stuff. And then of course I'm going to add bling. So I've got a pack of bling from the Dream Big Release. This like pretty like pink confetti. There's like pinky colors and then even a color that kind of went with that melon ink. It was perfect. So I used the confetti as well as some Trinity Stamps bronzed brown pearls. So sprinkled those throughout the card. And then once I was happy with where I had everything placed, I started adhering it all with craft tacky glue using my little embellishment wand and kept adhering them. Again, not following any sort of like rule, because I do get asked that. I know. I just stick everything where I think it's gonna look good. That's just yeah. You know, I wish I had like tips to share, but it's like, this spot looks like it could use some bling. That's kind of how I think about it. So anyway, got all those adhered, paired this card with a metallic cotton candy envelope just to, you know, bring out more of the pink, and I finished it off. This was really fun to make. And now I need to grab some ice cream. And apologies if now you guys want to have ice cream too. Hopefully you have some in your house. So anywho, I will have links below the video to my blog post. I'll have a supply list. I'll link to all the supplies I use, so you can check that out below if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, thumbs upping, commenting, all the good things. I very much appreciate it. And I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.